I want to share about a dream that I had on the 19th of March. In this dream, I was suddenly inside a real desert, and it had 5 buildings. These 5 buildings were in the middle of nowhere. 4 were really tall, one was shorter because it was a pavilion. And I could see that there was a lot of band-aid repairs on some of those buildings. Now, as I walked to the buildings, there was an Asian gentleman there. He was with this lady that looked partial Asian. This Asian guy was all metrosexual with his white fur coat and his little glasses. His counterpart was this young female. Now, this Asian girl was running the show. She was getting onto him as he was getting business and bringing all these people in to stay for some grand event that was going on. She insisted, you can't be doing that. We're at max capacity. You need to stop. But he wasn't listening. He just wanted to get the business. All he saw was money. I do remember thinking it was strange how the buildings were positioned. I wondered why they were positioned the way they were, and also noticed there was nothing around them. They made no sense. Plus, it was in the middle of a desert, a little resort in the middle of nowhere. There was no mountains, no nothing. I did have a room there. I remember walking into a lobby, and it was full of news reporters. These reporters were trying to peek into a bank, and there was security outside not letting them. They just wanted to get in to see, did they take the day off? What's going on? Nobody in the bank would answer their calls or come out and open the door. The whole front of the bank was covered in shutters. I remember walking up close enough and peeking, like, I see a guy sitting there completely bored. He's not working. So there's somebody there. But then there was security inside in front of all the little teller desks and podiums. Then the dream shifts and I'm inside the pavilion. It was a little banquet hall for like a small party. And there was a woman performing, and her turnout was so low. I'm talking 18, 20 people. She was sharing the microphone with people in the audience to sing with her, to say things. She handed me the microphone at some point. I gave a little speech. Everybody was very receptive and listening and even laughing along with things I was saying. I can't remember what I said. The message I had to give, it had to be heard by them. After I finished my speech, I walk into the crowd and there's this young man just watching me, chilling. I walk up to him like, you okay? He says, yeah, how do you like your room? I said, it's all right. How do you like yours? He says, I can't see out the window because it's so cloudy. It is kind of cloudy out here. And there was a random gentleman that said, have you seen the eclipse? And I said, no, absolutely not. The last time I looked into an eclipse, I was 8 years old, and that's how I ruined my vision. That's really strange because in the dream, I actually referred to something that actually happened in my real life. I walk outside. I noticed to my left that 2 of the skyscrapers are caving in and there's smoke coming out of them. When I turned around, the pavilion I walked out of was also caving in and smoke was coming out. And I thought, man, I left my glasses in there. Now I can't see, which worked out because it was an eclipse and I didn't want to look at it anyway. They're having issues. I could see some of the boarded up windows at the top that were falling. But then, sure enough, I look up into the sky and I didn't see any eclipse. What I saw was a little over half moon, a very bright moon. At least I thought it looked like a moon. I realized that next to me in a picnic bench is that Asian guy in the beginning of the dream. Now he is with a few people on this bench and saying, I should have listened to you when you said that not to rent out so many rooms. We were at max capacity. This young lady that's there, his counterpart, gets up angry. He's like, I told you not to do that. And she's just so mad. Now, while all these buildings were caving in and smoking, I never actually saw a fire. And all the people around, they weren't panicking. I didn't see any casualties. In fact, the only person I saw panicking was that Asian gentleman. I did wake up from that dream. I wasn't sure why I dreamt of an Asian couple that was managing, owning, and operating the hotels in the middle of nowhere. That couple was nothing more than the sound of reason and the sound of failure. I do remember the so-called eclipse in the dream. I didn't see any eclipse, but I did see how cloudy everything was. I had been noticing the moon is extra bright on the night of the 18th, night of the 19th. I'm kind of hoping to see it today on the 20th of March. It was just extra bright. When it came to some of the people in the dream, the woman singing was actually Adele. Adele with a very low turnout, and she was fluffing up her show with people from the audience, even letting me talk. I'm personally not an Adele fan. I'm familiar with her music, but I'm not a fan. I know a lot of people that love Adele and they love all her music. So in my mind, she's responsible for the way she influences a lot of people. The young man in my dream, he is a contestant from RuPaul's Drag Race as Aquaria that won the crown. He's actually the face of a movement that I don't really care for, but a lot of people support. As far as the rest of the random people in my dream, it seems like they were immune to disaster. None of them got hurt. Nobody was in panic mode. All these ideas and attitudes were all centered in the middle of nowhere. It's not till after I had this dream that I'm starting to see more coverage on social media. And it's regarding preparing like doomsday before this eclipse. It's about the military being stationed everywhere. The National Guard being stationed up and down America to protect people during the eclipse, or businesses and schools closing down throughout the entire country because of this eclipse. In fact, there's even a coordinate, supposedly. I wasn't looking too much into it, but now it's all over my feed. After the dream I had, I doubt there's anything to worry about. If anybody watching is good at translating dreams, I'd be happy to know what you think. I would invite people to not worry about the eclipse being the end of the world. Instead, meditate on what's going on the world spiritually now, and maybe meditate on how the eclipse is going to affect you spiritually. If anybody watching this has fallen into those negative thoughts about what this eclipse will do, you're falling victim to people pushing fear. Don't allow yourself to do that. You're so much better than that.